Beyonce, while she may seem perfect, she isn't. And she's had a lot of different blunders when it comes to her performances. From being caught lip syncing to having malfunctioning props, she can't hide it all from us. Now, in 2013, Beyonce sang the national anthem at the inauguration of President Barack Obama. Now, she was praised for the performance, but it was later discovered that she was lip syncing. Reporters were told that she decided to sing along with her pre-recorded track, a decision she made in part because she didn't have time to rehearse with the US Marine Band and had no proper sound check. Now, the admission about the January 21st performance wasn't a complete shock though, as a spokeswoman for the Marine Band initially said Beyonce was not actually singing the national anthem. Hours later, the band backed away from the spokeswoman's remarks though, releasing a statement that said the group was not in a position to know for sure. Then, 2 days after the inauguration, an inaugural official, who asked not to be identified, said Beyonce did not sing live, even though she was spot on in her pre-recording, which was taped separately from the band and then married together. After silence for a couple of days, Beyonce spoke out, saying, "I did not feel comfortable taking a risk," she said, of what she called a very important emotional show for her. "I wanted to make Obama and the country proud." Calling herself a perfectionist who typically practices until my feet bleed, she worried about potential problems during a live television show taking place outside on a chilly Washington day. Now, other than this incident, she said, "I always sing live, with that exception." Now, Beyonce expressed no regrets about her rendition of the Star-Spangled Banner in front of the Capitol, as she said, "I'm very proud of my performance." Now, her concerts are another thing though, because at other performances she's been caught lip syncing certain songs, but people think it's due to the difficulty of some of them. Now, regardless, she's been caught many times and has only owned up to it once. And then there's her most recent tour, Cowboy Carter, as she had a prop malfunction at one of her shows. She was singing 16 Carriages and she sat in the back of a red convertible prop high up above the crowd when suddenly it slanted to the side and she almost fell off. "Stop, stop, 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 stop," the singer calmly announced as she paused the performance over the crowd, which called for her to be brought down. Now, the car and Beyonce were harnessed to cables and she could be seen gripping one as the vehicle continued to dangle over concertgoers. Beyonce told the crowd though, "If I ever fall, I know y'all would catch me." Now, it was not clear what led to this mishap, but Parkwood Entertainment, the singer's management company, said in an Instagram post that a technical mishap caused the flying car, a prop Beyonce used to circle the stadium and see her fans up close, to tilt. The company said she was quickly lowered and no one was injured, and a representative for the stadium did not give further details. It seems like Beyonce is no stranger to controversy at her concerts, but is this really fair to her fans?
Beyonce is facing fierce backlash from her fan base after wearing a very offensive t-shirt. The diva sparked outrage at the Paris stop of her Cowboy Carter tour after wearing a t-shirt with the Buffalo Soldiers, who were some of the first African Americans to serve in the US military. While on its surface, the shirt seems like a celebration of an often overlooked part of American history, there's more to Bey's shirt than meets the eye. In the 1800s, the Buffalo Soldiers fought on the side of European colonizers against the Native Americans in the Indian Wars. Fans pointed out that not only did Beyonce wear a shirt with the Buffalo Soldiers on the front of it, the back of the shirt also featured a very controversial passage about the Native Americans that they went up against. Allegedly, one verse on the garment reads, "Their antagonists were the enemies of peace, order, and settlement, warning Indians, bandits, cattle thieves, even bootleggers and trespassers, as well as Mexican revolutionaries." A number of Beyonce's loyal fans were outraged by the text and took to social media and Reddit as well to express their outrage. One person online wrote, "Not everything in Black history needs to be revered and turned into an aesthetic. The Buffalo Soldiers did awful things to Indigenous people. Beyonce's romanticism of this is beyond the pale." They added that Cowboy Carter album got her feeling all kinds of patriotic, in all the wrong ways. A third person commented saying, "I'm glad I'm seeing so many posts against Beyonce peddling this Buffalo Soldier nonsense because I love her music, but she's not beyond being rightfully criticized, especially for selling merch calling Native Americans enemies of peace. Like, how dare you?" In other news, a technical mishap led to Beyonce's flying car prop to tilt during Cowboy Carter concert in Houston, with fans capturing the moment on video. The singer was quickly lowered down and without injury, according to Beyonce's entertainment and management company. The 43-year-old singer was performing her song 16 Carriages in a suspended red car when the vehicle started to tilt in the air, according to a video from the scary moment shared by fans on social media. And she was sitting on top of a red convertible as it began to actually slant. Now, she appeared to be wearing a harness and is seen holding on to, one of the cables, but Beyonce is heard calmly saying into her microphone while she remains suspended in the air, "Stop, stop, stop, stop." So the music was stopped and the car was slowly lowered to the stage. After she was successfully on the ground, the singer told the crowd, "I want to thank y'all for loving me. If I ever fall, I know y'all will catch me." The cause of the malfunction was not immediately clear, and while she hasn't directly commented on the incident, Beyonce shared a photo on Instagram letting everyone know all is well. That's gotta be scary though, right? And can you imagine the people who got fired right after that? Jeez. BuzzFeed posted 33 photos of Beyonce from her halftime show that she hated so much she got her publicist, Yvette Noel Schur, to email them demanding 7 of them be removed. As a public figure, Beyonce's life is constantly under scrutiny. For someone who seemingly always has everything under her control, there have been a few times she hasn't, and this was one of those times. In the email that BuzzFeed received from Beyonce's publicist, it read, "Thanks for taking my call. As discussed, there are some unflattering photos on your current feed that we are respectfully asking you to change. I am certain you will be able to find some better photos." Then she listed them as number 5, 6, 10, 11, 12, 19, and 22, and ended off her email with just a simple "thank you very much." BuzzFeed said they emailed back asking for further explanation but didn't receive a response, so they kept the photos up. The original article that BuzzFeed actually posted had 33 photos in it, and they labeled it as the 33 fiercest moments from Beyonce's halftime show. Beyonce's, 2013 Super Bowl halftime show was a showcase of female empowerment and a reunion with her former bandmates. The performance was praised by critics and became one of the most tweeted about moments of the time. Beyonce performed a medley of her hits, including Crazy in Love, Love on Top, End of Time, and Baby Boy. She was joined by her former Destiny's Child bandmates Michelle Williams and Kelly Rowland. The performance was described as frenetic and fierce. Some critics said it was proof of life and the night's true event. Her outfit, though, is what most people talked about, however, with many saying it didn't give off feminine vibes, which now makes sense as to why the photos she didn't want us all to see looked rather masculine and kind of unflattering. Many people were trying to guess, the designer, Thierry Mugler, Givenchy Couture. That's what we suspected watching Beyonce's hardcore leather and lace corset and boots outfit, or was it just leather and lace at the Super Bowl halftime show? But no, it's in fact the work of New York designer Ruben Singer. Singer is no stranger to the world of fashion, but designing the costumes for a style icon like Beyonce to perform at one of the year's most widely viewed sporting events was a completely different situation for him. Singer had worked with the singer, songwriter, and actress over the years and presented, storyboards from his fall 2013 collection to Beyonce's stylist Raquel Smith and Ty Hunter right after Thanksgiving. The concept perfectly captured the diva's vision for her Super Bowl performance. After he received the assignment, Knowles and Singer set forth on an accelerated collaborative process in early December. The next 2 months involved no less than 5 fittings and well over 200 man-hours, with a team of 14 dedicated people to creating the final look at the designer's New York City store. 1 full week leading up to the event in daily dress rehearsals at the New Orleans Superdome was also required to make sure everything was perfect for the big night. The stage costumes are based on Singer's fall 2013 collection entitled Valkyries Dominion. Now, in Norse mythology, a Valkyrie is a female figure who decides which soldiers pass in battle and which live. Other points of inspiration come from the striking images of late 70s, early 80s Helmut Newton and the play on masculine-feminine associated with 1930s film actress Marlene Dietrich. Now, the performance's opening look, set to the hit song Crazy in Love, consisted of two pieces: a black leather cropped motorcycle jacket with exaggerated shoulders and an asymmetrical collar with dramatic wing cuffs were paired with a micro mini asymmetrical wrap skirt in liquid nylon, made of nylon, metal, silk, and plastic, that singer exclusively created for her. Later in the performance, after removing the motorcycle jacket, Knowles wore a black leather bodysuit reminiscent of warrior armor. Stripes of engineered python, paneled iguana, and trampunto pick stitch leather were sewn together in contrast to the, flounce skirt and insets of delicate black chantilly lace in areas where skin can be seen. This item proved to be incredibly challenging, as it sounds, and as it is not only needed to be dramatic, but also had to withstand the, rigorous dance moves required for the performance. Singer said, "This piece is truly couture in every way." While describing the process, he said, "My seamstresses were assembling all of the leather and exotic skins individually by hand. All of the pieces were separate details that were all constructed for her body and on her body. We had to make the bodysuit have a tremendous range of motion and flexibility." Beyonce is such a fierce and intense performer, so we could not, have the outfit constrict her in any way, which I totally get. In addition to Beyonce's costumes, Singer created the costume for former Destiny's Child bandmate Michelle Williams, as well as the jackets for the show's 120 backup dancers. Singer presented, his fall-winter 2013 collection during New York City's Fashion Week that year. Now, BuzzFeed presented, the look in a series of photos highlighting each striking pose she did, each facial expression that she made, and contrary to the public's opinion, and Beyonce's opinion too, BuzzFeed said that every single photo looked fierce, strong, and beautiful. One person on social media said, "If I were a celebrity on the outside, I'd be like, haha, those pics are so funny, guys, I look crazy. But on the inside, I'd be like, if I see this picture one more time, I'm gonna lose it. People are making fun of me because I was dancing my behind off for my performance. I trained so hard for this, I'm gonna flip. Oh my God, delete the internet, I hate everyone." Another person on Twitter said, "My dad once posted a photo on Facebook of me mid-blink eating a chocolate. I would have straight up unalived my dad before letting, that stay online, so I don't blame her." Another person provided, a different perspective, saying, "Those are obviously unflattering pics, but she served an amazing and powerful performance with all that energy. One could expect those kind of gestures. It's sad that she desperately wanted to erase them, but on the other hand, I know how cruel some people can be on the internet making memes and stuff." Fast forward now to the most recent halftime show, which many say Beyonce arguably delivered one of the greatest halftime shows in NFL history, and it wasn't even the Super Bowl. The 43-year-old pop star took the field midway through the Christmas game between the Baltimore Ravens and the Houston Texans to perform first-time live renditions of several hit tracks off her latest Grammy-nominated album, Cowboy Carter. As to be expected, there appeared to be several Easter eggs and hidden messages embedded not only within her show-stopping performance, but also within pre- and post-show, promotional content. While Queen Bee, was famously joined by her eldest daughter, Blue Ivy Carter, Post Malone, and Shaboozey during the performance, there were several lesser known but still notable figures that took the stage beside her too. In her pre-recorded intro, she sang her version of Blackbird by the Beatles alongside fellow Black country stars, Raina Roberts, Tanner Adele, Brittany Spencer, and Tiara Kennedy, who also are actually featured on the track. At various moments throughout the show, Beyonce also showcased several groundbreaking, country icons, including Mexican cowgirl Melanie Rivera, pioneering bull rider Meredith Stiteman Jr., Miss Rodeo Texas Princess 2004, and Miss Rodeo Texas 2015, Nikki Woodward, and the first Black rodeo queen in Arkansas, Jediah Kirsch. Now, meanwhile, a caravan carrying Houston Texans owner Cal McNair and his wife Hannah rode onto the field as Beyonce sang her cover of Dolly Parton's Jolene. The Texans cheerleaders fittingly made up part of her backup dancing ensemble, in addition to nearly 2 200 members of Texas Southern University's Ocean of Soul marching band. During her pre-recorded intro of 16 Carriages, Beyonce could be seen passing by exactly 16 Cadillacs as she rode through the stadium's, tunnels on a white horse. When it came time for Post Malone's, guest appearance for their song, the two actually duetted, while leaning against a pickup truck appropriately covered all in denim. Now, all of the photos that were taken, Beyonce definitely approved of this time. She made sure that no one was gonna play with her, this go around. And you could tell she didn't make any strong facial expressions or movements that would look unflattering in photos.
The man in question was Dr. Zahi Hawass. He is a popular tour guide as he knows the pyramids very, very well. For years, he's been the Minister of Tourism and Antiquities of Egypt. He campaigns for stolen Egyptian artifacts, and he is, in general, an archaeologist, described by many as Indiana Jones. It's clear the man knows what he's talking about when it comes to the ancient Egyptians, and who wouldn't want a personal tour led by Indiana Jones? He does have another popular unofficial nickname, which is Gatekeeper of the Pyramids. Though this might not be official, he has no problem exercising his right to ban those he deems unworthy of the space, and that list shockingly added Beyonce's name back in 2013. Dr. Hawass said he found the singer rude after she allegedly showed up late to their meeting, and then there was a disagreement over photography. The doctor claimed that he and the artist had agreed to meet at 3 p.m., but Beyonce showed up after that. When he requested an apology, apparently the artist, in his words, didn't open her mouth. Now, that wasn't enough for him to just refuse the tour right then. There was another incident that really created the problems. Beyonce, of course, had a guard with her for safety reasons, but in addition to them, apparently brought a photographer as well because she wanted to do a goddess-themed photo shoot while there. The thing is, the doctor also brought a photographer, and this seemed to be a bit of a problem. He claims that when his photographer started taking pictures, Beyonce's guard attempted to stop them, and it resulted in some pushing and almost having their camera taken away. This incident pushed the doctor's anger over the edge, and therefore the star lost her spot on his tour. That, plus she was also allegedly being rude. His send-off to the star was something not many people can say they've done before. Apparently, he said Beyonce was stupid and then just left. There was also the matter that Beyonce had shown up in all white because she was having a goddess-themed shoot. Dr. Hawass even asked her when she arrived if she was trying to be Cleopatra, which Beyonce actually found funny. Of course, anyone allegedly getting banned from an ancient historical site would be a big deal, but when that person is international music artist Beyonce, there's going to be headline upon headline. Of course, news of Beyonce's banning made it back to her team, so we do have a response from the artist, and it just made the whole situation a little bit stranger. According to her team, this incident never happened, and said the whole thing was lies and more lies. Hey, even if the incident did happen, it definitely didn't take place in 2013 like the initial article suggested. Beyonce's statement shared that the last time the singer had been in Egypt was in 2009, and there are photos of her there at that time. When this Beyoncé ban news, which was originally reported by the UK news site Independent back in November of 2013, the article made it sound like this incident had happened very recently, but that wasn't the whole truth. Dr. Hawass is a pretty controversial character on his own, without getting into too many details, once calling those with opposing theories pyramidiates. Oh my god. Pyramidiates. Yeah, sure. Once calling those with opposing theories pyramidiates, and I will admit, that's kind of funny, no notes there, extra points for creativity. Anyways, he was widely celebrated for his efforts in the archaeology world, but he was also deemed to be very controlling and overbearing, even egotistical by some. It appears that in a 2013 interview, the man was simply reminiscing on his past encounter with Beyonce from 2009, and if the account is true, it's certainly eventful enough to remember after all this time. Though this alleged incident didn't take place in the year the Independent article came out, accounts from 2009, they do exist. E! News reported that locals spoke to the press at the time. One journalist got the statement that the doctor did get angry with the singer and stopped being diplomatic. This account also claimed that he called Beyonce a stupid person that didn't understand anything, or that she just didn't want to understand anything. Either way, the pair clearly did not end their interaction well. It's unclear how Beyonce responded to the insults against her. Maybe they were said after the pair had separated, who knows. Despite the alleged rough end to the tour, things clearly started well enough as the pair were pictured together in front of the Sphinx reading from a book. Beyonce even made her way into one of the pyramids and sang Ave Maria. She said it was the clearest acoustic she's ever heard, and she could have stayed there forever. I mean, if she really is banned, that would cause a problem. Despite not making overly public returns to the country, Beyonce has used Egyptian mythology and symbolism in her shows and performances since. People are saying Beyonce has been kicked out of the country music scene despite the success of her latest album, Cowboy Carter. After winning the Grammy for Best Country Album and Album of the Year this year, Beyonce has been attacked from all angles. From those that didn't like the album to those that did, but just didn't think this was Beyonce's best work. The singer has probably heard it all. A lot of people are just angry with the star for taking on the country genre in the first place. Beyonce, for a long time, has been primarily an R&B, pop, hip-hop artist. Cowboy Carter was her big jump in the country music scene, but not the first time she's tried it out. People are very upset that Beyonce seemingly tries out a genre and then wins everything for it. It does look odd. If you aren't aware of her country music roots, it would seem like she's just trying out genres to have a little bit of everything in her music library. Those that have really taken the theories far, though, even accuse award shows of being rigged so Beyonce can have an award for every genre. But again, Cowboy Carter might be Beyonce's first full country piece, but it's not the first time she's expressed a love for the genre. On her 2016 album Lemonade, she released the country-leaning track Daddy Lessons. In 2007, a rumor was circulating that Beyonce's next album was going to be all country. It turned out that it really wasn't. Her next album was I Am Sasha Fierce, but the rumor likely came from the fact that Beyonce had spoken out about her love for country music and the fact that she had recently done a country rendition of her song Irreplaceable at the AMAs with country artist Sugarland. Truly, it was a matter of time though before she was going to come out with a Cowboy Carter. I mean, Beyonce was born and raised in Houston, Texas. Country music is in your bones. In 2024, the Country Music Awards shocked everyone though when they didn't award Beyonce with any awards or even nominations. People weren't exactly being shy about their distaste for her taking on the genre, but outright refusing to acknowledge the impact her album had was another thing entirely. Beyonce's song Texas Hold'em was huge. The Bayhive was hopeful that Beyonce would become the first black woman to get shortlisted for Album of the Year. Of course, that didn't happen in the end. Not to say that those that were nominated were undeserving, because many great country albums have been released last year, but what's interesting is that the CMAs might have had a hand in the creation of the very album that they ended up snubbing. In 2016, Beyonce performed her song Daddy Lessons at the CMAs with the Chicks, formerly known as Dixie Chicks. The performance was widely criticized. Lead singer of the Chicks, Natalie Maines, even spoke out about the treatment Beyonce was subject to after, calling it disgusting. Beyonce was the one in the end to connect the 2016 show to the 2024 album. In an Instagram post about Cowboy Carter, Beyonce wrote that the album was born out of an experience that she had years ago where she did not feel welcome. The experience made the artist want to take a deeper dive into the history of country, and now we have it in Cowboy Carter. Though she lost out on nominations at the Country Music Awards, she got 12 at the People's Choice Country Awards, which was, funnily enough, more than anyone else that year.
Beyonce's rise to fame began at a young age. We all remember her hit R&B group Destiny's Child that her father and ex-manager Matthew Knowles created back in the 90s that skyrocketed Beyonce into stardom. So who would have thought that with her wide range of exceptional vocal talents that she would ever be caught lip syncing, right? I certainly didn't, and I know millions of others didn't. So that's exactly what happened though, and not only did it happen, but it happened at President Barack Obama's second inauguration in 2013. Beyonce was invited to perform the national anthem, being the Star-Spangled Banner, which would be watched by millions of people around the world, no biggie. Now, many assumed at first, of course, that she was in fact singing live. However, it was later revealed that Beyonce had lip-synced the entire performance, actually singing along to the pre-recorded track of the anthem. Now, the news sparked a heated debate, with some critics accusing Beyonce of being dishonest and lacking integrity, while others defended her, saying that the cold cold weather and technical issues made it necessary to use a pre-recorded track. Now, according to the Marine Corps band, the decision to use a pre-recorded track was actually made like minutes before the performance. Beyonce also said that she had sung along to the track to ensure that the performance was flawless. Now, when she admitted that she had lip-synced, the singer said she's a perfectionist and wanted her performance for Barack Obama to be a memorable one. Now, she called the day emotional, and she went on to say, "I practiced until my feet bleed, and I did not have time to rehearse with the orchestra. Due to no proper sound check, I did not feel comfortable taking a risk. It was about the president and the inauguration, and I wanted to make him and my country proud. So I decided to sing along with my pre-recorded track," which is very common in the music industry, and I'm very proud of my performance. So, to be fair, and to her defense, the Star Spangled Banner is notoriously difficult piece to sing. It spans such a huge vocal range, and it was also bitterly cold that day in Washington. So the combination of nerves and the cold may have influenced Beyonce's decision to rely on the pre-recorded track. We will forgive you, B, but we won't forget it. Moving on now, Beyonce has been called out many times for sampling songs throughout her career without actually getting permission first. One of the most notable cases is the song Ring the Alarm from her 2006 album B-Day. The song's chorus bears a striking resemblance to the 1995 song Get Me Bodied by Rare Essence, and also samples elements from the 97 song La Di Da Di by Doug E. Fresh and Slick Rick. In 2010, Beyonce was actually sued by songwriter Jennifer Armour, who claimed that Beyonce's song Baby Boy featuring Sean Paul infringed on her own song Love Theme, which was written in 97. Now, another notable one was Beyonce's song Run the World. She was accused of sampling the song Pon de Floor by Major Lazer without properly clearing the sample. But nothing almost ruined her career more than when she sampled the Challenger explosion in her song XO. Begins with audio of NASA's former public affairs officer Steve Nesbitt referring to a major malfunction involving the Challenger space shuttle, which actually exploded just a minute after its launch. NASA said in a statement to The Hollywood Reporter at the time, "The Challenger accident is an important part of our history, a tragic reminder that space exploration is risky and should never be trivialized." Now, in a statement to ABC News in December of 2013, Beyonce explained that she intended for the audio to be a tribute to those who passed away aboard the Challenger. She said at the time, "My heart goes out to the families of those lost in the Challenger disaster. The song XO was recorded with the sincerest intention to help heal those who have lost loved ones and to remind us that unexpected things happen. So love and appreciate every minute that you have with those who mean the most to you." The songwriters included in the audio in tribute to the unselfish work of the Challenger crew with hope that they will never be forgotten. Many critics didn't accept her apology or statement, and many just believed she was being tone deaf and inconsiderate, with one person online saying, "This is not how you honor the crew members. Nobody asked for this," with another person saying, "This is so random and came out of nowhere. She hasn't once spoken about the Challenger incident. She's definitely lying about her intentions." NASA astronauts, employees, and the families of the Challenger astronauts were extremely upset that she used this audio and didn't think it was a well thought out idea. June Scobie Rogers, the widow of Challenger Space Shuttle Commander Dick Scobie, told ABC News at the time, "We were disappointed to learn that an audio clip from the day we lost a heroic Challenger crew was used in the song XO. The moment included in this song is an emotionally difficult one for the Challenger families, colleagues, and friends. We have always chosen to focus not on how our loved ones were lost, but rather on how they lived and how their legacy lives on today." A former NASA employee, Keith Cowing, said, "This choice of historic and solemn audio is inappropriate in the extreme. The choice is little different than taking Walter Cronkite's words to viewers announcing the passing of President Kennedy or 911 calls from attacks and using them for shock value in a pop tune." Beyonce has never spoken out about this since, and because it caused such a media frenzy, people were not only upset about it, of course, but also ready to cancel her completely. It gave a vibe that she was using tragedy to sell records. Next up, we have Bumpgate. When Beyonce was pregnant with daughter Blue Ivy Carter, who will someday likely take over the world, rumors began spreading that one, she faked her pregnancy pregnancy with a prosthetic belly, and 2, had enlisted a surrogate to carry the child. A video that went absolutely viral overnight caused such chaos. The rumor mill went into overdrive when a video of Beyonce's high-definition interview with Australian's Sunday Night HD surfaced online, and honestly, it would have been a rather forgettable chat were it not for one moment at the start of the sit-down when a very pregnant Beyonce took a seat and her bump, well, took a break. When she sits down, you can actually see her stomach deflating, crumpling, and folding in on itself, however you want to describe it. Stills and slow-mos of the seemingly disappearing bumps circulated by the dozens, and conspiracy theories around as to the curious behavior of her baby bump. Was Beyonce wearing different sized bellies to throw off the press as to how far along she was? Had she and Jay-Z gone the surrogate route and her seemingly deflating baby bump proved it, or was it something else entirely? Beyonce's publicist Yvette Noel Schur was quick to shut down the conspiracy theories of the masses, telling E! News that sites and rumors suggesting that Jay-Z's better half is wearing a prosthetic or otherwise faking her baby bump are foolish. Beyonce addressed it only once, saying, "That was crazy. It wasn't hurtful. It was just crazy. Where did they come up with this?" Now, Wendy Williams discussed the incident on her talk show and actually had 2 of her staff members who were pregnant at the time, with one of them being due like the same month as Beyonce, sit down in very similar dresses to see if their belly, or I guess fabric, folded in the same way. Both did not, and so that also drew a lot of attention and caused many other people to believe the fake pregnancy rumor. Now, one fan online pointed out that Beyonce has been so secretive about her pregnancy, and that the only footage of her being pregnant was grainy and not clear, and some fans did come to her defense, saying that there was actually a pic of her on the beach in a bikini, but Wendy Williams very clearly pointed out that that photo of her standing in her bikini anyone could replicate if you just stand and push your stomach out enough. Now, some conspiracy theories Wendy talks about is that 1, the baby was to help her depleting music career at the time. Theory number 2, that the baby was to keep Jay-Z's alleged mistress away. Theory number 3, the alleged woman in Trinidad with Jay-Z's son was intimidating to Beyonce, and Beyonce was basically trying to keep up with her. Theory 4, she was going to use a surrogate to maintain her body and not put it under stress. And theory 5, they're adopting, but wanted to play it off like she gave birth. Now, Wendy even predicted it would be an at-home water birth. However, we now know that that didn't happen, as Blue Ivy was born at Lenox Hill Hospital in Manhattan, New York on January 7th, 2012.
First off, we have the 2024 Grammys. While Jay-Z was accepting his award, he took his mic time to look at his wife Beyonce in the audience and ask the Grammys why they have never given her Album of the Year. People were stunned, and so was Beyonce. Body language expert Judy James told The Mirror that Beyonce tried to hide her facial expressions with her white hat during her husband's acceptance speech. The expert believes that, quote, "a loyal husband can be a dangerous thing, no matter how much they show love, plus an intrinsic drive to defend and protect." Judy shared that most women of today's era would prefer to stand up for themselves. Quote, "You can argue Jay-Z has his heart somewhere in the right place in terms of velour, but Beyonce's frozen-looking, symmetric smile seems to hint that she might just be feeling as mortified as many women would," she added. Judy shared, "Moaning about not getting an award means next year's awards will be poignant for Beyonce. If she fails again, she'll be hurt. But if she wins it, the hint will be that Jay-Z nailed it for her, rather than her own talent." Beyonce holds the record of winning the most Grammys ever, however, she has never received the Album of the Year award. Next up, we have Jay-Z's cheating scandal. In 2013, rumors came out that the rapper had been cheating, and then there was #ElevatorGate that trended when Solange Knowles attacked Jay-Z while sister Beyonce stayed silent. More recently, Jay-Z's album 444 alluded to him being unfaithful. He wrote, "Look, I apologize, often womanized, took for my child to be born to see through a woman's eyes." The rapper and Beyonce had planned to do a joint album, but ended up doing solo records instead. "We were using our art mostly like a therapy session, and we started making music together. And then the music she was making at that time was further along. So her album came out as opposed to the joint album that we were working on." Next up, we have the Lance Rivera situation. In 1999, Jay-Z was arrested for, let's just call this, putting a knife into the young record executive Lance Rivera. Jay-Z believed Rivera distributed distributed bootlegged copies of his then unreleased album, The Life and Times of S. Carter, which was not supposed to hit stores until later. After committing the crime, Jay-Z turned himself into the police, accompanied by his lawyer. A witness to the altercation said Jay-Z walked up to Rivera and said, "Lance, you broke my heart." Rivera responded with, "What?" before Jay-Z pulled out the knife, according to the witness. Jay-Z pled guilty and faced a 3-year sentence of probation. Next, we have the fact that Jay-Z was a substance dealer, we'll call it, in his teenage years. Speaking to Vanity Fair, Jay-Z opened up about his past, admitting that he was dealing substances to make ends meet. "It was everywhere. It was inescapable. There wasn't any place you could go for isolation or a break," he said in an interview. "You go in the hallway, there are people using in the hallway. You look out in the puddles on the curbs, everywhere." Jay-Z admitted that while he made a living selling substances, he never once used them. Jay-Z claimed that he did learn some of the business practices he does today from his time dealing the substances. "I know about budgets. I was a dealer. To be in a deal, you need to know what you can spend, what you need to re-up." Next up, let's talk about Jay-Z suing Rita Ora for alleging that she still owed 4 more albums. Famous singer Rita Ora was sued by Jay-Z's album label Roc Nation, with Ora alleging the company lost interest after they focused their attention on other ventures such as streaming service Tidal and also a sports management company. Roc Nation's claim they sunk millions into Rita's career and that she owes them 4 more albums. Ora signed with Roc Nation in 2008 while she was an unknown artist and agreed to deliver 5 albums and has only produced 1. Ora's attorney Howard King said Jay-Z promised Ora, quote, "total freedom" from the label. In a statement, King believes that Sony Music made Roc Nation file the action to preserve whatever rights Sony had. Roc Nation alleged it was a breach of contract and they demanded $2 million plus be given back along with unspecified damages for the 4 undelivered albums. The lawsuit was settled between the two parties, with Rita Ora possibly signing with a new music label. Next, let's discuss Jay-Z being arrested for gun possession. In April of 2001, Jay-Z and 3 other men were arrested outside a Manhattan nightclub and held on charges of illegal gun possession. Police said that Jay-Z was detained when his bodyguard Hamza Hewitt was allegedly found with a firearm in his waistband. Hewitt, Jay-Z, and 2 other individuals were all charged with 3rd-degree criminal possession. The case was delayed until October 2001 when Jay-Z entered a plea of not guilty and was found not to have been part of the possession, but did face 3 years probation for his 1999 incident with Rivera, which we just talked about. Jay-Z also went under fire for his decision to host his famous Oscars after party in 2022 at the controversial Chateau Marmont Hotel. Every year, the rapper hosts one of the starriest parties of the night, known as the Gold Party, with attendees in previous years including Rihanna, Reese Witherspoon, Kanye West, and Kim K. His last party, which was held pre-pandemic in 2020, was at the Chateau Marmont. But Jay-Z's plans to throw the 2022 event in a lounge space at the Sunset Strip Hotel have been met with criticism due to an ongoing boycott of the property by some of its workers and celebrity guests over alleged racial discrimination at the venue. Kurt Peterson, the boss of workers union Unite Here Local, said in a statement, quote, "For Jay-Z to choose the Chateau Marmont for the Gold Party is shockingly insensitive. They must move their event and choose an after-party hotspot that treats its workers, especially black women, with dignity and respect. Jay-Z has a responsibility to do better," he added. "We hope Jay-Z joins Gabrielle Union, Issa Rae, Quinta Brunson, Ashley Nicole Black in boycotting Chateau Marmont." The union even organized a picket line outside the bash beginning at 8 p.m. the night of the party. In 2020, The Hollywood Reporter published an investigation of allegations against the Chateau Marmont, with employees claiming that black and Latino visitors were stopped and questioned when they were arrived more than white guests, claims that were confirmed by a representative for comedian Tiffany Haddish. The Chateau's law firm said at the time that workplace issues are regularly raised, as at any business, and swiftly investigated and addressed, adding that a whistleblower line is in place for employees to report issues or concerns directly to outside integrity counsel. Next, let's discuss 4040, Jay-Z's old nightclub. His nightclub 4040 was reported to have bounced checks. In 2003, reports claimed that two companies filed separate lawsuits against Jay-Z's nightclub for a total of $46,000 in unpaid bills to the two businesses that complained, claiming that they received rubber checks from 21's Inc., the rapper's company. Ronald Mark Associates was to be paid $18,000 for manufacturing 30 custom tables, but only received $5,000. Ron Berkowitz, a spokesman for 4040, downplayed the allegations, claiming the bouncing checks are a bum rap. Berkowitz said one suit was settled for $8,000 on November 2nd, 2003. The second lawsuit was without merit, but said they were countersuing Ronald Mark Associates after they couldn't deliver tables as promised before the opening night. The next point is a bit shocking. Jay-Z reportedly shot his own brother when Jay-Z was only 12 years old. He said he did it because his brother stole one of his rings. How did he get the firearm? I went to someone's crib, someone's house, and got it, Jay-Z said, explaining how easy it was at the time to acquire a firearm. They were everywhere. You didn't have to go far to get one, they were just everywhere. After doing this to his brother, he believed he was going to jail, but his sibling refused to press charges and ended up apologizing to his brother because he was an addict. It was terrible. I was a boy, a child. I was terrified, he said in the interview. Lastly, let's discuss how he reportedly punched a female fan in 1999 at one of his concerts. Yikes. In footage from Jay-Z's concert film, Backstage, a scene from part of the film shows Jay-Z striking a young female fan back in 1999. The rapper appears to slap and then push her in front of him as he walks down a corridor with his entourage. A spokeswoman for the rapper says that the footage was being taken out of context. Speaking to the New York Daily News, she said, quote, "The person in that video is someone who he's worked with for years and they are very, very close. And for it to be exerted like that is an insult."